March the 21st, 2019. This is a crypto day morning. Welcome. 2 minus 3 is negative fun, and well, let's do some Fibonacci fun. I kind of think mathematics is fun. Okay, I'm a little bit of a nerd, but so be it. The gold chart on the monthly time frame and the Bitcoin on the daily, well, they're pretty much the exact same. With that being said, upon the gold chart against the US fiat, we have on the daily, and it's the monthly that I'm talking about. We'll go daily, weekly, monthly to get there. Tangling in with this within a Fibonacci level, we're going to talk a lot about Fibonacci, at least within the Bitcoin chart, definitely within this one as well. But after this price decline and a great run higher, October having a run up to the line, we'll say, and down with a good price correction because it goes below the 18 lows. And then a phenomenal rally because it has supported it. It supports it one time at the end of November. Then it does it again on December the 14th. Then it supports it amazingly in the later stages of January. And then again in the second week of February. And now it breaks through, tangles within it on a correctionary move, and is looking to lift off from such an event. So this is looking very prospecting. I don't know if that's a word to use, prospecting, but uh, good potential, high probability odds. And we have this 18, which is great support in here. And another way of looking at it is when you have an amazing move up like this where it just goes phenomenally high without breaking down below the 18, it's just a matter of time before you will. And when that happens, well, what's the next more longer term time frame? Because probably the 18 will hit with there. And of course it did amongst this move in here. But it looks to me as if it's ready to leave such an event. We have a spot where we come up to this major Fibonacci level. We resist it, resisting where it came from, but pulling back to a higher low and doing such in the liftoff from this situation. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes noticeably higher, and that's when it gets very, very interesting when viewing such from the monthly chart. Yes, resistance is higher than such when we consider that it had multiple hits at around 1365 and even higher than that, 1370, 1375 ballpark area, as it was March the 3rd, 2014, or the week of March 2014. And then again in the middle of 2016, small pierce below in 2017. And then again for the first 4 months of 2018, it did so. Here we lie again in 2019, attempting to do so. And when we have what's been in place since this high in here, higher low, this here, this high had a higher low here to this, but this one lower than here, but higher than this. And we're in the situation where, yes, it could pull back and make a higher low to even like, well, the 18 lows, this Fibonacci level, so be it. That could happen. But on the break of this level, it's looking phenomenal. And notice over the last few days, we have this holding and staying above the 18 average of highs as well. That's the third period. Let's take a look at Bitcoin on the daily chart next. And this is a daily we're going to refer to as a combination. And all of these lines in here, weekly, just hanging in there, daily. Here we have it. So similar looking pattern in that you, on the way down, you establish a level of resistance and you have a decent move up. But since your last decent move up, you've had a nice higher low situation break coming in with multiple hits upon a very key level, which we are seeing the multiple hits here again. And well, if it breaks it, usually you're going to get a significant break above it. Now, as far as these mathematical Fibonacci levels, how they are calculated is I take this high and I divide it by this low, and I put this to the root of a little more than 61.803%. to the root of the low. I multiply that number, the 61.8, by this, and I get this number here, which would be 38.2. This number here would be 23.6, or the 4800 is 23.6, which would make this the 15%. I think this is a 9%, and then like the 5. We'll look at these numbers very soon. But for now, let's take a look at this on the Bitstamp exchange and flood this one with a bunch of lines because we don't have any on there right now. See, within this we can see, let's just do some monthly. We're going to be working with this low and this high. We have a high of 19,666 and we have a low of 152.4. And enter the start of this very basic spreadsheet where I have the two highs and the lows, which is very simple to put in, and this is just this number divided by that. So the length of the gain was about 129.04199948 times gain. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. This number here, well, it's 0.6108033988748995. I don't know if it's got all those decimals on there. Yeah, it's got enough of them. So how did I get that from there? Well, this is the Fibonacci sequence. It's a simple math. You start with 0 and then you add 1. This number is equal to this number plus this number, which is 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1. And then you keep on copying and pasting that down. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. 5 plus 8 is 13. And I'm not going to keep on going with every single number. But what happens, well, let's just show you this from here. If we take this number and divide it by this number, we're going to get 1. 2 divided by 1 is 1. And 3 divided by 2, 1.5. And we're going to see how they go up and down on a symmetrical lower highs and higher lows. 1 2/3 here, 1.6, and then it goes 1.62, and it just settles in at the 1.618. And what we can see here in decimals, it's just a matter of time before, well, there we have it. So this is that number. I didn't have to go as many rows. And if you divide it by the other way, say this number divided by this number. Okay, sorry, I want to do it the other side, which is the low number divided by the high number. So let's go equals this divided by this, and we should get 0.61083398874, and then those are the Fibonacci, the golden ratio, as some would call it. So then I've put in that number in here, and in here I have the differential. I can show you the formula up here, although hard to read depending on the size of your screen. Definitely not in a cell phone, but C3, which is the difference, 129, to the root of this number, multiply the low of 152. So 61.8%, which represents 38.2% down, is the Fibonacci level. So therefore what we can do is I can take this number and multiply it by itself, and I would get a 38.2%. Copy and paste this. That's why if it breaks down below 3,000, it's going to 1,000. And just as I was doing those small numbers on the daily, well, this is how I can do it in here, where I actually need to do it this number. Okay, so the formula I would have is equals A12 multiply the previous row. So the last number multiplies 61.8%. And so on and so forth. So the earlier numbers become very short-term numbers. So unless it goes down towards it, to me those numbers aren't important. And even the numbers I'm going to be showing very soon, they are no longer important, or they will be important later on. So what I want to do on this is I want to do the 1 subtract this number, which is the 76.4. 1 subtract this number equals 1 subtract this. And 1 subtract this. And that's as far as I'm going to go, which is already far enough. But the numbers above, this would be that 6,000 or so area, 6243, 9677. Okay, yes, I will fool around with numbers even below than that. Below than that. 9 and one more. So the shorter term numbers on the way down were these ones here. And I could even go more towards that 18,000, 19,000 number that would be above it. But what I want to do is I want to see how these lines worked out back on the way down before. So to do this, I'm going to go back to the 4-hour term and just scroll a few periods like this. I get these ads, and normally I'll pause the tape to remove them, and I get this, but so I want to go back to the high and then just see how each one of these numbers that have been calculated would have played through. So here we have it at this point. If you had an ongoing number, you would have seen starting to retrace in here. Let's put the first 9 in, which would be 17,733. And then below that is 16,634. And where's my line button thing? Oh, okay. I see it now. It's hidden in your unviewable area. And I forgot what the 16 number was. 634. Okay, so the next number below that is 15,000. And the next number below that is 12,688. And the size differential from each move gets smaller and smaller. And I think logarithmic charts is always important. There's actually 688, 96, as if it matters. 9677. And for now, I don't need to put in the 6,000 number because I know how phenomenal it already was. So therefore, let's and look at this from this perspective too. You would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different key Fibonacci levels from this November 30th runs, 2.5 weeks, where that was the phenomenal length of the gain. But as it played out, was a little bit of support, piercing above in here, and then a little bit of support again. We can see the breakthrough from that number. Within the next number, it's sort of hung in there within that area, resisting this number again. That's all magic and luck when it happens. It's luck. It's luck when it happens over and over again. And you see, it doesn't take long for that next add to appear either. And now we have it breaking down. Do we see support near this 15? We had a little bit of it. But what happens if you don't find support or much at a key level? You have a fast move to the next one. There it has it. And the 12,006, yeah, I guess it was kind of support. And then this 15 was sort of resistance. And 12,688 again was sort of support. And 15 was resistance, now supporting, attempting a move to 16,334, which it pierced well below. Failing to support in here, stating that it's going to go back to 12.6, resisting it. So that's comeback resistance, as I would call it. And comeback resistance, or even comeback support, is where you break a key level, and then you have your next retracement back to where support should now be resistance, and then leaving from that is where you're moving to your next leg. So there we have that 12,000 just magically being support. 50, luckily, that's the better word, luckily. Now 15,000, luckily being major resistance, lifting off and going to the 16 level, but it's piercing well above it, but yeah, in that area. And then now supporting the 15, but breaking down from it. Hey, it pierced above it. It didn't hit it. It's not like it works that well. It's just a number. 2 minus 3 is negative fun. So here we have the break of what that key level was, and it has a relatively fast, quick move to the next point of 9,600, where it just, luckily, it's luck. Finds support at that area. And then it's now luckily resisting to 12,688. And now it's just doing a whole bunch of whatever, the 9,600. And then when it breaks down, we're probably going to have a fast move to that 6,000. And there it is right there. And as we continued further, we have this 96. That was not really resistance. It got above it. It was supported for a bit, supported again. Supported again. So where it failed to break out from. And then if you leave that area, fast move to the next level where there's breakdown, fall, or lift off support, break off. I usually call it lift off support, but whatever. Anyway, those are the numbers. There's not much more to show in here because, I mean, this was just showing you how the volatility now is a little bit lighter compared to what it was back in January and February. And as I've now fast forward this to where we stand today with 4 periods going sideways after this move, but the last one barely breaking above, coming back to where it came from. Hourly time frame, just doing whatever, but weekly chart, we got all those lines in. And on the monthly, we can see it a little more. I don't need them anymore. For the reason why I like this is because on Coinbase, I can keep those lines. And I drew those lines in right after the bottom. And I just haven't deleted them. I edited them this morning to the exact numbers. But normally I'll accidentally delete them in times I haven't done that. But by having the Bitstamp one, this is one where I can go through. This is where I have this thing, I can just move this around, and it's only 3 of them. This is the drawing tool. This creates a line. And this just undoes whatever. So if I want to say, grab this and remove it, or try to get this here, and see how big of this is. It's hard to actually get. There's even another one that they provide lower, so I would use this to remove it or delete it. Now why it left somewhere, I know why. But that's what I like to use for it, because so many times I'll be like, I need this one here because I'll be drawing, and I'll okay, and I'll want to scroll back to like here. And now I have to go like this to scroll back. Then I can draw like this, and then I can push this and scroll it some more. And then to keep it out of your way, I just put it lower where it is visible to your part of the screen. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Remember, 2 minus 3, it's negative fun. Bye-bye.